Stonefalls Lore, Part 2. Mottos of the Dunmerry Great Houses by Villain Girith. To my son, whose inability to remember even these simple facts embarrasses our family at every opportunity, this is to inform you of the words of the great houses of Vardenfell that they live and breathe by, and the saints that they hold as their patrons, representative of their goals and motives. And, if you ever again confuse the Lalu and dress merchant nobles, with whom we trade, I will disown you 3 times and 10 times, and once again to make the deed final and eternal. House Redoran. A Redoran is a warrior whose duty is first to the tribunal, second to House Redoran, and third to family and clan. St. Nerevar the Captain is the patron saint of House Redoran. House Enduril, justice knows no sleep. Enduril shall order, the temple shall judge. St. Olms the Just is the patron saint of House Enduril. House Lalu, to trade fairly and freely is to honor the 3. St. Veloth the Pilgrim is the patron saint of House Lalu. House Dress, to spread culture and truth to the benighted, this is our commitment and our burden. St. Lothus the Pious is the patron saint of House Dress. House Telvanni, the forceful expression of will gives true honor to the ancestors. St. Vorus the Immortal is the patron saint of House Telvanni. You will likely not note the lack of an ascribed motto to the 6th house, the Shadow House, House Dagoth. This is because that house is extinct, destroyed at the Battle of Red Mountain, after which the remaining houses built the temple to the tribunal. If you ever mention this house in polite company, I will disown you. You will note that twice now I have threatened to disown you. This is because my hands are not so black as Mephalah's or Lord Vivek's. My heart is too weak to simply remove you from my family. Keep this text on you at all times, and let it shame you for every reference you make to it in your dealings with our nobility. Spare our lineage the greater shame of your own foolishness. May I never have cause to call you a swit in public again. Nords of Skyrim. My People, My Pride, by Hothrumund Wolfheart. Respected leader, my name is Hothrumund Wolfheart, and I am a Nord. But more importantly, I am a Nord born and raised in the lands of Skyrim. I write this volume in desperate hope that the rest of Tamriel can come to know my people as they deserve to be known, and understand this provenance for what it is truly, a place of uncontested beauty and culture. Some of what you know is undoubtedly true. Physically, we Nords are impressive, often an imposing sight, tall of stature, strong of bone, and thick of muscle. Our hair is often fair and worn braided, as has been the custom for generations. Often we are swathed in the hides of beasts, for such creatures are abundant in Skyrim, and we would be foolish not to take advantage of such an available resource. Having read this far, you may be shocked as to the strength of my words and the literacy of the northern savage. Aye, many Nords can both read and write. My father began my instruction by way of letters when I was but a bairn, as did his father and his father before him. But the accomplishments of the children of Skyrim are multitude and go beyond mere woodcraft, for we are artisans as well, and through the ages we have learned to manipulate the steel and the sway of the sculptor wood clay. Indeed, I have seen with mine own eyes visitors from High Rock and Citadel weep in disbelief as they beheld the blades wrought in the fires of the Skyforge, and all honed the beautiful deadliness by the gods-touched hands of the Greymane clan. But how can this be true, you ask? How are such achievements possible from a people who have yet to emerge from the muck and snow? Again, provincial bias that clouds the truth. The cities of Skyrim are a testament to Nord ingenuity and craftsmanship. Chief among them are Solitude, the seat of the High King and the capital of the Providence; Windhelm, an ancient and honored, a jewel in the snow; Markarth, carved into the living rock itself in ages long since past; Riften, nestled in the golden shadows of the Far Forest, whence comes the delicious fish and mead; and Whiterun, built around the hall of Jorvenskar, home of the most noble companions and revered Skyforge. And now, respected reader, you have the full measure of it. We Nords are everything you imagined, and so much more. But let this not work be your only gateway to the truth. Book a passage on a carriage or vessel, and make the journey north. See Skyrim with thine own eyes. See Skyrim as the Nords have, since the gods first shaped the world. The Brothers of Strife, by Nili Omavel. My fellow scholars would have you believe that the elves of the Ashlands are unstoppable. They point to Red Mountain and other triumphant, if hard-fought battles against the Dwemer as proof. But once, long ago, our people were as fair as the mountainside in Skyrim. In that distant time, we were driven to the edge of defeat. In the time before Red Mountain, we were known as the Kaimer. We were just another race of mer, aching out a living on the edge of the inner sea, and then came the Needs. Though the Nords of today are allies, the Needs were adversaries of the darkest nature. They sought only land, conquest, and spoils. We extended upon the hands of diplomacy, which they lopped off. Any elf in the Horde of the Path were fair game, man, woman, or child. The greatest generals of our age were brothers, Balrath and Sardal. They led armies of willing warriors against the Horde. At first, this was an attempt to drive them from the Ash. As the war went on, their actions turned purely defensive and redirection. If a force of Kaimer could spend their blood allowing a village to evacuate, then that blood was well spent. The Needs, after a few short years, controlled most of what we now call Stonefalls. The Kaimer armies were cut off from the inner sea, and reinforcements from Vardenfell. The brothers retreated again and again until finally they were left with a small elite force of sorcerers and troops. This force took them to shelter in an ancient Daedric ruin. What happened in that ruin has been lost to time, but the massive statues that now mark the site endure as testament. The death of the Kaimer generals ended the war, but at what cost? At this ruin, the so-called Brothers of Strife were born. My research shows that Kaimer mages from Vardenfell eventually bound the beasts, but not before the brothers ended the lives of hundreds of men and mer. One of the darkest chapters of our people's history followed. The unstoppable beasts made the ash run red with blood, Kaimer and Need alike. We can only speculate what brought the brothers to Nirn. Perhaps a Daedric prince summoned them to that ruin. Maybe it was Sheogorath having a laugh, or a grim survival test from Boethia. When the two beasts were finally bound into the twin spires of Stonefall, they went to their rest with the blood of history staining their claws. We must hope and pray to the three that their like will never be seen in the Ashlands again. Varieties of Faith, the Argonians, by Brother Mikhail Karoxor of the Imperial College. Except for a few of the most assimilated Argonians worship neither Aedra nor Daedra. They do not have a religion as it is known elsewhere in Tamriel. They are known to venerate the histories of Black Marsh, but they do not appear to have prayers, priests, or temples. Argonians also venerate Sithis, the primordial shadow chaos that existed before the gods were born. Unlike most citizens of Tamriel, they do not regard Sithis as evil. In fact, Argonians born under the sign of Shadow are taken at birth and presented to the Dark Brotherhood, which in the Black Marsh is considered an integral part of society. I hope you've been enjoying these lore readings, and if you have, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye.